Last year, the NFL Players Association started a league-wide survey for all 32 teams for the workplace conditions. I will break down that, and also I will break down the upcoming NFL Scouting Combine schedule. I'll get into that and what we should be paying attention to. The upcoming NFL Scouting Combine, and I want you guys to let me know what you think about the scouting or the report card grade that was handed out by the NFLPA regarding the Titans. I'll break down the Scouting Combine first, and we'll get into report card grade after. And by the way, I am sorry if you can hear my dog snoring. We've had storms recently where I live, and he's very scared of them. He's like a 95-pound black lab. He's a big baby. You know, you might have heard him right there. He's snoring right next to me. So, hey, he's a little, he hasn't slept the greatest. So, you know, I apologize for the snoring, but I don't have the heart to kick him out of the room either. So we'll break that down right here now. And I'll get into the NFL Combine schedule. Like I said, I'll pop it up on the screen for you guys. Tomorrow, which is Thursday, February 29th at 3 p.m., I'm going to do Eastern time here. The defensive linemen and linebackers will have their workouts. Friday, March 1st at 3 p.m. Eastern time, the defensive backs and tight ends. Saturday, March 2nd at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we have the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. Sunday, the last day, March 3rd at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we have the offensive linemen. Now, we really want to pay attention to basically every day, in my opinion, guys. We have holes across the roster. We'll be interested in linebackers on Thursday. You know, we didn't re-sign Aziz. You know, we don't really have a proven linebacker currently on this team right now. One that I'm comfortable with starting right now. So we're going to have to be interested in linebackers. And obviously this is all regarding what would happen after free agency, right? That depends on who we draft. I get that. But scouting combine is first. Maybe we have depth at the lineman position unless we don't retain Autry. Because if we don't retain Danico, that becomes another need for this team. Friday, we definitely need to pay attention to the corners. Now, Brock Bowers says he wants to be a Titan, but I don't think we can spend the 7th overall pick on a tight end with as many holes as we have on this roster. Saturday is a big one for us because we may not need a quarterback, right, or an early running back, but you best bet we are going to draft a wide receiver this year, especially with what Callahan, I call him Callie, has been saying. It sounds like he would draft a wide receiver over an offensive lineman all day. You saw that when the Cincinnati Bengals drafted Jamar Chase. So, I believe him when he says that. Now, T. Higgins was tagged. Mike Evans probably staying in Tampa Bay from what I saw today. And then we have Pittman probably staying in Indianapolis. So, we will need to draft a wide receiver this year because those are 3 of the top guys that were going to hit free agency. Maybe we get someone like Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, right? I don't know. We don't know yet, but we're going to have to pay attention to every day in this scouting combine because we have holes on this roster. Maybe we look at a running back in the 6th round for depth maybe because, we have Spears. Maybe we re-sign Henry. I don't think that's going to happen personally, but this is also a loaded free agency or free agent class at running back as well. Headlined by Henry, Jacobs, Barkley, guys like that. But you got to figure we're going to stick with Spears. I think we sign our depth running back in free agency personally. I don't think we draft one. That's just my thoughts there. Sunday is the day for Titans fans. Reserved exclusively for the offensive linemen. And boy, do the Tennessee Titans need offensive line help desperately. This is also considered to be a deep offensive line class. Remember that, okay? There's a chance that we draft receiver first and then go offensive line second. And a lot of people will say, I want Joe Alt, right? And if he's there, I think you got to take him. But there's a chance we take like Malik Neighbors or Romeo Odunze if he's there. Marvin Harrison's not going to be there. Let's face that. Now, obviously, like I said earlier, free agency plays a huge role into what positions become needs during the draft. But the Titans have a lot of holes, unfortunately, and not a lot of picks to fill these holes with. Thank God we have a lot of cap space because we're going to need it. And, excuse me, we're going to have to pay attention to everything, everybody in this draft because there's holes everywhere. We're going to have to, there's a chance that we select one position of each. I think we should focus on offense mainly, but you could argue we need defensive line, corner, linebacker, wide receiver. If you don't like our tight ends, if you think Chig really fell off last year, I'm personally a Josh Wiley fan. You guys all know that. But, there's a chance that we could take a bunch of positions. We need an offensive line, obviously. Maybe we don't really like that Hooker's been hurt and we go a different route of Hooker. Maybe we don't like Edmonds when we traded with the Eagles and we go a different route there. There's a lot of options we could do as a team. Free agency will help us fill a lot of that because I think we have 6 picks. We don't have many to work with, guys. Now, let me dive into this year's NFL Players Association survey. Now, this is the second year they have done this. And the Titans, they had some interesting rankings here. And I have it up on the screen for you guys right here. They have treatment of families. The grade was a D+, and the rank was 17 out of 32. Now, I'm gonna dive each one of these as I discuss them. So, treatment of families. If you guys remember a post or it's an article recently. Actually, it was an article, but there's also a video of Wesley Woodyard. If you guys have not seen it on YouTube, look it up. He talked about Vrabel and how Vrabel could have his kids in the locker room, but the players could not. That means a lot to these players, especially some of them that have family that have been in the NFL or related to it. Imagine if Bill Callahan, who's Brian's father, right, wasn't coaching. He's an ex-coach. He wants to come visit. Sorry, you can't come visit, right? Let's just say he was an offensive coordinator. He wasn't the head coach like he is now. That's unfair to those guys. A lot of these guys have NFL ties with family or something like that. Like Brian was able to hang out in NFL locker rooms because of his dad. That's just the fact that Vrabel did that. And guys, I think Vrabel changed his ways later on in his career as a head coach. I really do believe that. I think he was too hard in the beginning. But, and I'll get towards why I think that later. Now, the food cafeteria, a B, which was 12th out of 32, which is good. That means we're taking care of our players. Same thing with nutritionist and dietitian. They were also a B, 12th out of 32. The locker room, C+, which is 19th out of 32, which I'm kind of shocked by that because they revamped the locker room. But you got to imagine, new stadium coming, they're not going to pull out, they revamped it, but they're not going to pull out all the stops. They're building a new stadium. They're not going to put much money into it going down the road when they got a new one on the way. Training room, C+, which is 19th as well. Now, I could see that, training room, locker room, they're going to go hand in hand. Like I said, new stadium coming through, not too worried about those. Training staff, now this is who you hire, obviously, on your staff. They're a B, 18th, middle of the road pretty much, right? I thought that might be lower because of the injuries we had, but this just lets me know that the players there feel like they're getting adequate one-on-one time or training for their bodies with those coaches. So that lets me know that these injuries we've had maybe are just fluky. It sucks. Maybe it's coaching, and the coaching is where we drove the players too hard, right? And they hurt themselves. I was kind of shocked by that one. Everyone caught me off guard. Maybe started rethinking some certain things. The weight room, B+, which is 13th, which is good. I like that. I thought that would probably go hand in hand with the other ones. I thought that once I started reading those, I thought that would probably be 18th as well, but it's not. That's a little higher, B+ at 13th. I'm happy to see that. Strength coaches, B+ with 18th as well. And, strength and training staff, I would imagine they go mostly hand in hand as well, right? So who you're surrounding your players with, strength-wise, training-wise. Like I said, I am surprised by those. I thought they'd be lower because of the injuries the Titans have had. So I was happy to see that they're more middle of the road. Team travel here, this is the big one for me, an F. They were ranked 30th out of 32 teams. 2 teams ranked worse than them, and they're an F. Like, that's horrible, unacceptable. especially when you hear that Amy Adams sent her private plane for Brian Callahan because he was going to miss his interview. That means, we have the opportunity to do better with that. And I actually wonder if that kind of goes hand in hand with head coaching. Because if team travel, I would hate to think it's just like the plane and stuff like that. You think team travel might actually go more along the process of how you're traveling, when you're traveling, what your itinerary is like. Are you allowing players rest? Because remember, when we played overseas this year against the Ravens, you guys got to remember, the Ravens were there prior to us. The Titans landed and then went right to practice. And I thought that was bizarre. We watched the Bills the week before come out and lay an egg. And then we decided to hold the same schedule that the Bills did. So in my opinion, team travel goes hand in hand with coaching almost. Because I can't imagine that the planes are crappy and stuff like that. I would hope they wouldn't be. I'd like to know more info on that, more in depth on that, because I really do feel like that's more of a head coaching thing. Because as you can see below, head coach was 22nd out of 32 for a B+. Now, 22nd, for everybody that said Mike Vrabel was that great, there's only 10 coaches that were lower than him. You got to figure for the record, or for the amount of hype that Mike Vrabel had for being a great head coach, you think he'd be top 10. You also think he wouldn't be a free agent coach this year. So, and maybe some of that early on coaching he had maybe did play into some of that, because like I said, I think he was a different coach in the beginning, and I think he became more player friendly towards the end, because it seemed like a lot of the players that he was getting rid of weren't really caring for him. But obviously I think that might be normal or common, right? Someone fires you, or you're off the team. Oh, that guy sucked, I'm not a big fan of him. I get that, but it just seemed like a lot of the older players, they didn't seem like they really cared for Vrabel. So maybe he had some learning to do as a coach. And I remember bussing with the boys one of the episodes that Mike Vrabel's on. Taylor Lewan did say that Vrabel had changed as a coach. So I really do feel like some of those players have been there for a while, maybe, or towards the, maybe been there for 4 or 5 years, could kind of see, which isn't many if you really think about it, but could kind of weigh in on what Vrabel was like in the beginning, because I feel like he's changed, like I said. But I'm also happy we have Brian, new identity for the Titans, and I'm ready for a fresh change. Now, ownership, B+ at 15th. I was happy with that. I wish it was a little higher, because I really do feel like Amy Adams tries her best. I think Amy Adams Strunk is one of the best owners in the NFL. She reached out to the Houston Oilers players and gave them a home with the Tennessee Titans. And for everybody that says the Houston Oilers, jerseys and stats and all that stuff belong to the Houston Texans, stop it. The Texans are an expansion team, so just get rid of it. Get that out of your head. Even Houston Oilers players say the Tennessee Titans should be wearing it, the jerseys, and they're in their Hall of Fame there, the Ring of Honor. And they go to Titans games. They don't go to Texans games. They go to Titans games. And I give a lot of credit to Amy Adams for that. She gave those players a home. Think about it. They didn't have a home for a while. They didn't. Am I a Texan? Am I a Titan? She gave them a home. And Amy Adams has done great by this franchise, building a new stadium. She seems like she's, for the fans, for the people. She goes out in the parking lot on game day. She flies in the head coach because he can't make the trip. I'm all for Amy Adams. I think all of these rankings will only go up with new coaching, with a great GM, with Rand Carthon, who everybody seems to love. I think these rankings will only go up from there, especially the team travel. Because like I said, I think that a lot of that has to do with coaching and how they prepare and how they tell the players, this is our itinerary, this is what we're going to do. So like I said, that will change. It has to change. If it gets much worse, you're only going to 31st or 32nd. So that needs to change. That needs to change bad. But let me know what you guys think down below, guys. What do you think about the rankings? Were you shocked by team travel? Or were you shocked by training staff? I was shocked by those two the most. And let me know what you think about the NFL Combine. What day should we really tune into? The offensive line? We really need to focus on wide receiver. Let me know what you guys think down below. And as always, tighten up.